As the 70s roll in, stability around the world has never been as shaky. Interplanetary alliances join together to seek ideological supremacy across both planets. Cultural shifts are uprooting norms that have been in place for centuries. Technological shifts have been changing how the world itself functions. As these shifts occur, life continues in the Seedbearer region, where a seemingly random group of people have come together to try and make sense of the nonsensical. This is Hazeltown Story. Alright, so welcome to, I guess, a little bit more of a rambling, non-scripted, well, it's not really scripted anyway, but a less structured episode of Hazeltown Story, we have kind of finished an arc, so it is time for us to poke around at our mechanics and see anything that we feel should probably get looked at before we do another arc. So I have with me Torpo and Carnival, who are going to be essentially our, I guess for lack of a better term, testers for this system. Also, Carnival is basically co-author, actually probably even more author than I am, of our system. So I feel like it is, yeah, this is I don't really have anything else to say with that. I guess we're just going to poke at some mechanics and see.
Hi, I'm here too.
Yeah, that's a Torpo.
I know. I'm just saying.
Torpo, yes, has been here with everything.
I have no title. I'm just here.
Yes, you are poker at her, I guess.
The toucher.
Yes. All right. So I guess what we'll go at is just kind of taking a look. We didn't really do a whole lot of, the last arc didn't really give you a chance to do a whole lot of, it was, again, another kind of more of a investigative kind of thing. I feel like last arc, you definitely had a lot more checks involved that actually had consequences than previous ones. But still, I think one thing, especially with the way that the arc ended, I do feel that one thing that will be coming up that we probably, I think right now is definitely the thing we have tested the least out of the system, is we definitely need to do some combat.
By least, you mean we have done none.
Yes.
Actually, we have done zero combat.
Have we? Because the
only combat we did was with the old system.
Yeah.
That was with the old system, because I can't remember. Was the old system with when you pillowed all of those Nazis?
That was not combat.
That was not combat because we snuck in successfully.
Because that is the closest thing we have had to combat.
There was combat in the previous system in two of the arcs, but other than that, no. There's been no combat.
Gonna have to poke around with that. And I think other than that, kind of looking.
We've
it
got
looks
a
like
few holes we gotta fix, though.
Yeah, the unique still is missing an XP trigger, though that one's a weird one to fix.
Did you ever revise all the ones with vehicles in them?
I think I did. Let me what.
I think one of them is another one is also missing a trigger.
Yeah, there's like two
or investigator.
Oh wait, I actually have because I forgot the forum system exists because I had them written down. It's just been Hazeltown Story is going to be weird for the next couple months because I am in the middle of also revamping a bunch of shit with my normal streams. So
yeah, everything's in a state of flux.
Yeah, I am juggling a lot of bowling pins at the moment. So I have not exactly had the mental space to get to them. Okay, so the Engineer, Relic, and Unique are missing XP triggers according to my note that I have here. We've also changed to making all the terminology consistent. I think I probably would need to go through and do that.
Control F is your friend.
Yeah, because I know it used to be per sessions, now per day. Yeah.
Are you sure the engineer's missing something? Because it looks like it's filled in.
Is it? Let's see, because who?
It might be my sheet still technically old since.
Let's see.
Yeah, work with a new set of technology or build something new. Use your knowledge of technology to assist in any investigation.
Okay, so that might have just been added, and I hadn't had a chance to add that.
The unique though is still struggling. I know that, and
yeah, because that. Oh, that's the investigator. Yeah, the engineer is that on the tab that's for the actual archetypes tab?
yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Okay, yeah, I see that. No, it has not been updated on Elmas's tab.
You said the relic.
The relic, yes. Also,
The relic has one.
Unless the relic, because let me take a look to see what it is.
I think we were talking about it needed revising, is what we were.
Yeah,
because right now we have that one might actually be fixed because benefit someone by using the now you got my power ability, which is basically someone needs to hold you and you need to transfer a skill point. Which I think that I forgot what the old one is. Let's see, where is?
Well, that was the only one when I'm looking at virtues.
Yeah, and it's assisted any form of investigation by using some form of magic is the other one.
Yeah, I think that one we might have.
I thought we might need to change that because that seems a bit too. I don't know. We might.
I don't know. I think it's fine to have an easy one.
Yeah, because it's usually a easy one and a one that requires a little bit more specifics. Because I've already juggling that by using some form of magic. Well, you're required to have it, yeah. So the magic nature, I feel, of the relic kind of makes sense for that. So I guess then actually that is fine. If we have problems with that in the future, we could potentially.
What are the forms of magic the relic can choose?
It's any of them. It's any of the major ones. Except for, let's see.
That might cause an issue then.
Because it is specifically wizardry, telepathy, audiomancy, animancy, and the vox.
Okay.
So so they can't take you can't take expertise, you can't take magic bane.
Okay, that's what I just want to make sure of.
Yeah. So you have to take one of the ones listed, which are essentially, well, actually, technically for the major one, I mean, I guess if that, you have to take, because what, hold on, actually. I just realized something. Wizardry, telepathy.
Because if you're going to do magic, you might need to say, hey, you can't be magic bane, or...
Yeah, because I listed them out. Is it wait. Okay, I had to look because for some reason I didn't see telepathy in there. Okay, so yeah, that's all listed there. So you have to take one of those. You cannot take magic bane.
I want to be completely sure is all.
Yeah, no, that one I did. That one I definitely. It was like, no, you can't deny your own.
You're
existence.
magic, you stupid bitch. You can't be non-magic.
You're not a paradoxical existence.
Yeah. So actually, I might in my little thing. I might actually mark the relic as that's done for now. Engineer. Let's see. Did the engineer have one listed there, or is it blank on both?
It's listed here.
Okay. Work with a new set of technology or build something new. I guess another way of phrasing that actually that might be better is spend at least one downtime action working on a long-term project.
That would probably work better, but that'd also be very easy.
That's really yeah, that's one that's not only that very easy, it's also kinda it doesn't fit the format for most of the other abilities, really.
All right, yeah, then in that case, because working with a new set of technology, that seems kind of specific.
Yeah.
Because it's like the use of technology, that one makes perfect sense. Because for the most part, well, Elmas didn't get. What else did Elmas do anything the last arc? I actually forgot.
It's been a while, so I'm not super remembering everything myself either.
It's
I know because I'm not really remembered because I remember most of it was more of the plot dump stuff, and then
there wasn't because it's like
handed off something.
Because Elmas didn't go in. Did Elmas go into when you did the burnt out warehouse or the burnt out storage unit?
I used one of the drones to look around.
Yeah, use a drone.
Also, really quick, you might want to do something with Tinker, but that would also require you pigeonholing them into a stat.
Possibly, though. Granted, if you're an engineer, I feel like it's like the muscle's gonna, of course, go into Smash.
Yeah.
So that isn't the end of the world because it's like there's naturally just going to be some things are better than others for certain classes. Hmm.
But that would also make it very easy because you're probably going to be trying to tinker anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I was also thinking, it was like, well, maybe you need to do like a tinker that's either something that's either in a desperate or trying to remember the terminology, the essentially the non-controlled state, but also
Right, but
that's pretty easy in general.
desperate. That's an experience thing.
Yeah. Hmm. Wait, doesn't the I wonder if we could use a variation of, because was it the wizard that has be flashy when no one asked you to?
Yeah, I think the muscle also has something similar.
Which is do something physically that other methods might be more practical.
Yeah.
So maybe the engineer is use technology in a way that is more like something essentially in the gist of use technology when you really don't need to.
Right. Use fancier methods when.
All right. Let's see. Use technology to solve something more mundane. Or use technology to solve a problem more complicated than it needs to be.
Yes, use technology as a solution to things that
No. Use technology to solve a problem when other methods would be more practical.
Yeah, that
solve a problem when other methods. Yeah, okay. When
it's more in line with the wording of the muscle, which is do something physically that other methods would be more practical. So the wording is more yeah,
more consistent.
All right,
Yeah, exactly.
so there's that done. Okay, terminology that I can fix before we do the next arc. The unique's a weird one.
The unique is so weird, and I don't know how to.
Like, it's one of those things where, like, if you're ever gonna release this for like something more practical, we'd probably like take a look at the unique and just completely retool it because
because essentially it is
strictly narrative, and you have no control.
Yeah,
it is essentially the jester class. Is kind of how I wanted it to be. Like you are the.
It is very much the full tarot card.
Yeah, but
the one issue being is that most of it is purely at the GM's discretion and are things you will never actually see.
Yeah.
Like Weirdness Magnet, I still don't know how that's supposed to be implemented.
Yeah, that is entirely, hey, if there are multiple characters with this, I do weirder GM stuff.
Yeah, or Friend of Fate would be
that one. If I were to actually rewrite that, what I would probably rewrite that as supernatural beings that something along the lines of you are more likely to get favors out of, or you are likely to be pointed in the right direction by supernatural beings that you have no idea who they are. So something like that. Or like beings that you cannot see, or beings that are or extra planar are
you would start off with like, I don't know. You start off in favorable terms with beings of supernatural nature. It's like
that would also tie into I'm not weird, you're weird.
Yeah. Because that's because Friend of Fate's more of a favoritism thing than a actual being able to do it completely.
I just think the unique might need a minor overhaul, or at least some change in wording to be more clear.
Yeah. Because it's like, is it Monster of the Week has, it's kind of like The Chosen.
Let me go open up. Do you need the links to the thing? Because I can link you just the sheets if you want to just.
Well, this is more just in general saying, hey, this one is more akin. What I'm kind of thinking of is like something that's a close to that class where it's like you are chosen by fate to do something.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, in case Torpid and might need it, just like to give an example. Because I have
I mean, might as well.
Give me a second to find it.
So yeah, we might need to poke around that because I'm looking at the other ones. Okay, the other one's like a Devil's Bargain. having the class that is like the fingers and pies, I think that's fine.
I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in Hazeltown General.
All right. I guess what else? Blame yourself for God. That one I think that is heavily GM dependent, but I feel like that's kind of story agnostic.
I guess it's just like a lot of the other, basically all the other classes have very tangible benefits.
Yeah, I get what Torpid's saying, and I agree. Is that
it is essentially it is very much a Joker class. So that might be something I could poke around at to kind of
very
get
much
more
a Joker class, but like really only one of the skills it has is something I can directly influence.
Yeah. Well, especially because like having like a hand like maybe one or two that our GM like can poke around with might be fine, but it does kind of feel like a lot of this is up to the GM's discretion.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
That one we might need to overhaul, probably.
I think needs to be put on the back burner for now because that's a lot.
Yeah, because we have
a lot for what we're doing today, I should say.
Yeah. Also, yeah. Granted, I think this has been more than alluded to in other things, but there are some classes that we have not touched yet. That there are characters that have the abilities. Like, do we have anyone that's the Sworn? Is Saskia the Sworn?
That's Saskia's the Sworn.
Yeah, it's the Devout. We have not done one. What is the one that
Devotee is one we don't have.
The Devotee is the one I was thinking of. Okay, nope, that character is not it's the Muscle and the Inspector, which we have. Do we have an Inspector yet?
Yeah, Elmas.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem is the Devotee, I think
it is a
reason I couldn't pick the Devotee.
I think it was the fact that I can't remember why exactly.
Oh, that's right, because it is a support character.
Yes.
That's kind of the issue why nobody's been picking it. Also, I'm just gonna fix the text on one of these.
What did I do wrong? Let's see if I can figure it out before it gets fixed.
Too late, I fixed it.
Okay.
But yeah,
you misspelled passive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's definitely just been the problem with the Devotee is that just by nature of your three main players being who we are, none of us are very pick support classes.
Yeah.
Like I figure like this is did something happen?
There we go. No, accidentally dragged a cell on top of another one.
That's like we can talk here about how like yes, there's a character planned I've got in the workings that will be using the Devotee class just because it's like okay, we need to try this. It's there. It needs to be done. But like it also doesn't help that like a lot of what since I'm just looking at the abilities, like none of these look like bad, but just we have no example of them in use is the problem.
Yeah, I can kind of get that. Because it's also like you kind of have to have a very specific character type to do it, whereas the rest are kind of like it's kind of almost in a way like the soldier, where it's like, hey, if you're the soldier, you're likely to be one of a handful of occupations. The Devotee is going to be a performer.
Right, which in of itself is not a bad decision. It's just
if you don't want to play a character that's a performer, then
you're not going to be doing it.
It would be an interesting mix with the wizard.
Yeah, because the idea is also, and I could probably that could be another retweak. Is my idea initially for the Devotee was not just like the way it is. I can kind of see a performer, but also like almost have it as a like a speaker or something like that.
Public speaking.
Yeah, public speaker or like a
Also, I will say this: you might want to mark a number of characters down as can't take magic. Like a number of classes is not compatible with Magic Bane. Because I think Magic Bane was a general one that you could pick. Didn't really line up with anything, so you might want to put that down.
Yeah.
For which one in specific one were you thinking?
Any of the magic ones.
Well, the thing is that the magic access, that is one you have access to. You don't have to take it. For example, if you wanted to be a healer that had Magic Bane, you could still like there is like
No, I'm talking like the wizard or the
oh
relic.
yes, that actually. Well, the relic it's listed as you have to take one of those.
Yeah.
The
My point
the
is you might need to mark that down for like the wizard or I don't know if the sworn really meshes with the with Magic Bane either.
let me take a look at that. The sword.
Because a lot of it's about magic rituals.
Yeah, you might want to definitely like
That actually then I think because it's listed.
It
I
doesn't
might
require you to take a magic access like say Relic does, but it definitely the way that these abilities are formatted, it definitely is one that like you probably should make it a requirement.
cannot take Magic Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can mark it down on Magic Bane's page, not compatible with.
I could also do that. Nope. Because I was thinking like yeah, because the rest of them you can get away with.
Yeah,
like the engineer could be an interesting one to take Magic Bane with because technically it could work, but also
Just a normal engineer, not just one
yeah, you fry anything technical mechanical. Yeah, technomechanical or technomanical, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
But,
basically, it's either you rework the sworn a little bit, but to make it less reliant, or you just say, "Hey, you can't be this."
I think for the what I was going with, I think not being Magic Bane would be more sensical.
Okay, I just want to be sure because yeah, Magic Bane's a little really. It's the weird one. It is the weird one.
It is, especially lore wise. It is something that would be relatively rare, but that's the fun thing whenever you're making characters of like, oh, you're kind of making special boys, so
yeah, that's kind of the point.
you can't say if like a percent of the characters can't be like no, you can't do that.
We're not
So
like a rolling dice, rolling life path system. So
yeah,
Also,
it's not. Yeah,
very minor quibble, but I would like more like at least one other non-magic minor skill.
yeah. I think that was also I can be yeah. Because right now, if you don't want to take one of the magics, you're basically taking vocation.
You have to take the vocation. There's no two ways about it. You have to take vocation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what example.
The problem is,
example
like, what would that be? Unless it is like some sort of like, I don't know, like hyper focus or something like that.
I mean, we don't necessarily need to have the thing done tonight, but like we definitely note that as we should make something as another non-magical.
Because yeah, Magic Bane is required to get vocation.
Let me
because
see.
Of it.
Minor skill. Actually, I should write down more of these. There we go. New not magic. Unique. Major rework. Okay, there's that. Let's see what else. I think actually with that, because right now what I have listed as not complete is making sure the terminology is consistent. Make sure that basically it's rework the unique, and then figure out a magic skill or a non-magic minor skill. So yeah, I think also one thing that I need to think of, and I actually might need to rework the sheet for this, is the fact that since we're not really focusing on scrying sessions anymore, that the equipment page or the equipment kind of area is kind of heavily dependent on it.
Oh yeah, we not just combat. That entire equipment section needs to like.
Yeah,
equipment in general needs an overhaul.
Because the thing is, the equipment kind of.
So quick question.
Do
there need to be combat rules?
Not really.
I mean, so the way that the combat rules, I believe, as written, are basically, it's really just the same as rolling. I think let me actually open it up. I can actually see what they are.
Like, I think the big thing that you made as a difference was just more of like you had like initiative slots in terms of just a more structured way of saying, okay, this person does this reaction does this, in compared to the more freeform thing, but otherwise still the same role.
Essentially, what you're gonna do. like, let's see. Do I have a thing that's...
Well, then my point is we could probably shave down some of the numbers involved.
Yeah, because let's see, note about combat. Combat in Hazeltown story is rare, but a possibility. Combat is much less formal in Hazeltown story than in other turn order. Unlike traditional tabletop games, the only turns in combat are the player's turns. Enemies act as a consequence of player action rolls. Turn order can be decided by the players involved, with the exception of those with the abilities that say they go first. In structured encounters, turn order does not need to be consistent between rounds. However, everyone must act at least once before another person gets a turn. So essentially, if we are like, hey, we're in combat, you're all going round robin, taking action turns.
It's because there's a lot of numbers that really only apply to combat.
Yeah, that we kind of don't need.
Yeah, a lot of the combat rules or combat numbers and systems seem like leftovers from the previous system.
Yeah, because it really, honestly, because like if I look even at the,
like I imagine if we get in a fight, it's gonna come down to just
like I imagine that this really could be like you don't need it. The attachment system absolutely is a leftover of Genesis.
Yeah, we don't need that.
You really don't need armor.
Yeah, like I think the note about like the turn order thing about just hey, everyone should act once before doing again is fine.
I think generally, like, if I'm going to do, like, damage, so to speak, I could really, honestly, I could just have, like, a list of, hey, like, I don't need, like, the listing of all these guns. What I could say is, hey, a long arm is going to likely do 3 damage. If you say, have armor, we can do something about that.
Something with, like, the armored tag, basically.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, you're like reduce damage by X amount.
Yeah, we can definitely just flatten some of these numbers.
Because it's like load. Like I'll just give you slots. I think rather than having a load like system, I think, hey, you can carry a primary weapon, you can carry a big thing and a small thing. And then whatever you have in your bag, and that honestly, that just might be a hey, I'll let it pass, because it's like rather than trying to calculate load numbers, because it's like you can tell when someone's carrying way too much.
Yeah, or slots available based on class or whatever.
Yeah, because
or like gear tags, I should say, available based on class.
Because that's what the tag system is generally for. Because it's like, hey,
yeah,
that I think I'd keep.
But the muscle could pull from, I don't know, like armored or heavy.
Because it's like, right, it actually is on the archetypes. Because, like, say, let's go find Aravia for a second. Look at Aravia. You have the unique and you have the muscle. In the top right, where it says gear tag, where it says gear tag, like, say for the muscle, gear tag practical. If you look at, like, say, the weapons tab, you can see that, say, in the tag thing, like that gives you access to like brass knuckles or a pocket knife or a heavy stick.
Yeah,
I love heavy stick.
And it's like, I think that in of itself is fine. It's just we don't need the granularity of like the different.
The guns really, honestly.
You had the Shadowrun. The Shadowrun came and got.
I have one Shadowrun book growing like as like a teen, and it was the weapons locker. So,
like I said, the Shadowrun got to you.
Yeah. Well, also this was a thing in Genesis too.
Yeah, no. Much of the combat and stat stuff in this is very much leftovers from the Genesis system, where the rest is taken straight from like Blades in the Dark.
Yeah, because honestly, like, because I could like say, for example, I can like maybe I can give like an archetype of gun. Like say, here's a pistol, here's a rifle, here's a shotgun.
Yeah, you don't need anything more than that. Pistol, shotgun, rifle.
Yeah. Maybe light machine gun if I feel fancy.
Assault rifle.
Yeah. So, yeah. Because looking at this also, just going to take, unless we get something, none of us are pulling out a rocket launcher.
No.
Or a grenade. Well, probably not a grenade.
Like, yes. I think we've had a gun come up twice.
Yeah.
in there was the time when Yuhar pulled it out in the dream, and the time there Bobby pulled it out on Tacit.
Yeah.
It's like how the gear tab, I cannot think of a single time that any of these have been used.
No.
Because it's all like, hey, you're probably going to have it on. Yeah, like, we have not talked about a Merlin rod since the first arc. And, like, none of these have come up because you haven't needed it. Like the energy detector, that kind of actually what this should do is this should all go away and this should all become long-term projects.
Yes.
I would say this, if we're getting rid of all the gear, then it might help to, oh god, for certain classes like the devotee, I know you have the notes thing, but maybe specify that as art.
Yeah.
So someone could fill it in. So like, say if I had my engineer devotee, they could, be this horrible, tiny, completely insane man who builds ridiculous phallic objects.
Yeah, you also play an automaton, yes.
Well, no, it says specifically artistic endeavors.
Okay, and that's in
the devotee. So yeah, art form.
Yeah, instead of notes. Well, it's also like the agent, because it's like instead of like notes, it should be like
organization.
Affiliation. Yeah, affiliation. Because the Sworn also has that thing about.
Yeah, because Sworn is order, the agent is organization. I'm not going to take it out for the other things because it needs to be there for placement reasons. Relic actually, Relic is actually.
They needed to like designating what power did we give.
Oh yeah, items /
like also like
skill.
what the relic is, what do they empower.
Oh yeah, also the thing I forgot about the relic is relic cannot use equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Unique, some of these I can need to read. I could utilize the notes tab to like for a class specific purpose.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because like honestly,
or like the scholar, it can be their
focus.
Your focus. Because I think because you get a special subject, right?
Yeah. It's not focus that I want to say. It's not
expertise, because that's another thing we've used.
Yeah.
I guess major.
I keep on just thinking specialist subject because that's
or expertise.
But
expertise. Expertise is something.
Expertise
else
is a thing. Yes. Subject.
This is why this is like, even when I get annoyed about the reuse of terms in game books, it's like, no, I get it. It's not their fault.
I think subject would probably work.
Archetypes, rewrite, label for notes, weapons / equipment.
Oh boy, I think this is probably going to be the biggest overhaul since we
started
doing
down.
These.
To be fair, we kind of we've
needed it.
We've needed this. The entire thing of like the entire equipment page has been just sitting there, and it's like, we're sorry, but you just don't fit what we're going for.
Yeah, this is like, this is not me building out an actual like game. This is me. This is a tabletop.
We've built out a game. Just not all games are going to involve
more like something where you're picking stuff out of like a drop down, or like you're focusing on like a video game where like a dead set amount of stuff is a tabletop game. We have the flexibility of using the English language.
Whatever, we have. That said, I might need to do a rework of my secret character.
Yeah,
assuming she ever gets out of her cage.
Yeah, well, that'll be something that's actually the thing where, because definitely by the time, obviously it has been announced that, with Media Delta going bye-bye, that this might pick up its slack, but gotta figure out what exactly we're doing with that.
I would still say, like, try to run 4 games don't try and run 4 games a month, man.
Yeah, the thing that I was thinking of is doing like, hey, we have our arc and then like we'll do like one-offs, because like one session can end like last 2 weeks.
Also, it means we could do this with more regularity because you don't end up with these huge backlogs.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we have not figured out stuff yet, but yeah, that is the thing that I think we have a discussion about what do we feel would be the best course of action.
Because I will say this with the combat.
I was trying to thought.
I apologize. Yeah, I was gonna say, so like with combat and the system in general, I think it might be a good idea to sit down, just think, what do I really want out of this? How do I want things to move?
I think that actually might be like what's coming up next, because just to peek a little behind the curtain, I have no clue what the next arc's going to be yet.
I mean, this might be the time to break out the whole let's go rip off some movies.
Yeah, so what's likely going to happen is, I mean, because I set you up perfectly for, hey, let's do this one-off, like, oh, someone's doing something, and we can have, like, the entire thing is, like, it's not a huge setup. It's like, here's your setup. You're going to go, for lack of a better term, do a run. So, like, a quick, like, oh, hey, you're going to infiltrate this thing, and you're going to do something, and it's going to be, like, an afternoon. Like a one session arc, essentially.
Okay.
Like essentially, like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of bad guys in this garage somewhere. Go infiltrate and deal with it, and that's all you need to do. But yeah. So that's where that, and because that'll actually give us a really good way of testing out these combat rules.
Yay!
Even then, also, like, hey, I want to try making a character that doesn't really have a backstory. I want to try out this class and this class, maybe. By doing like let's give everyone this amount of points to build with and just try and poke around. But we will find out in the future what we decide to do, because we have not decided that yet. Because, hey, it's the holiday season. Things have been hectic.
Also, we live in the post-2020 world. Things are always hectic.
Yeah, things have, in particular, around me, have been hectic more than they have been usually. So, yeah, I've had, like, things that I needed to work on that normally I do not have to work on, and procedures. So, yeah. I think that's probably actually good for this, because I can't really think of much else to add.
Oopsie doodle, I inspired a rewrite. Oops.
It needed to happen.
That's why we have these things. Like, honestly, if it's like, hey, we need to rewrite this, it's like, perfect. It gives me, like, this is about hammering it out to make it, like, actually work. I don't give a shit if I know I'm not going to do it right the first time. Nothing does that.
Nope. Especially, no. It's good.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that to happen when I came into this, but I'm like, you know what? We've been talking about combat rules, and I'm thinking,
do we really need them?
How much of this can we just shave away?
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was the thing that I looked at, and I'm like, man, it's going to be a lot of, like, because actually I'm, like, looking at this, because it's like, yeah. Okay, like, straight up, like, looking at, like, the combat rules for undertaking and dealing harm/stress damage. Enemies generally have a lesser harm threshold than players. The following is a general rule of thumb for enemy types: minion class, rival type or class, nemesis class. I just straight up took the Genesis terms. But yeah, I think when I start to actually write a combat scenario, it's going to be like, oh, this really doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, this is a 6-step clock. What do you do?
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be something we'll find out when we actually get back to business. I think this was a good discussion, and it's a good point for me to actually start working on some of this stuff. So just for you listening, next episode's probably also not going to be a return to Arc. I'm thinking of something to possibly do, but yeah. We'll find out when we get there. So, I guess with that, thank you all for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Hazeltown's story. If you would like to get updates on this show and many other shows hosted by me, LoloDePuzlo, you can follow at Hazeltown Story on Twitter, and if you would like to get to know me, or from a personal standpoint, you can follow my personal Twitter, at LoloDePuzlo. If you would like to watch this be recorded live, you can go to twitch.tv/LoloDePuzlo and follow the channel for notifications of when this show, as well as other shows like Retro Rank Rhapsody, are being recorded. If you would like to add this podcast to your podcatcher of choice, you can search for WLDP Hazeltown Radio and find us on most major podcatching search engines. Or you can manually add rss.hazeltown.life to your podcatcher. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come around for the next episode.